Stabilize your rear deflectors. Watch for enemy fighters.
Good shot, Red 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, folks. We talked a little while back about our favorite ships, our favorite vehicles, our favorite, favorites. So this is going to be our all Sandcrawler podcast. Wow, you really hit that super hard there. You didn't even let me get it out.
I know, I'm excited.
Oh, goodness.
I want to talk about it. All
well,
right.
too bad. Because
So I've got a wiring diagram. I've got a full mechanical list. Every part we're gonna go through everything. Everything.
Well, I hate to
take this from me.
burst your little bubble, but
3 weeks of planning. 3 weeks.
yeah, well, too bad. Because we're actually going to be talking about Alphabet Squadron.
Okay, fine.
Oh, man, Alphabet Squadron. Took you like 4 months to read it.
That's right. Once.
No, I mean, I have a little bit more time at work to just pop in a podcast than you do, unfortunately. So it can take a little bit longer, or a podcast than an audiobook. So let's do real quick little Jedi Council, just so that we can get it out of the way. How you been?
Week's been going okay. How's yours?
Yeah, it's a week.
Yeah. Tends to be.
It's a work week. I think I've finally given up on my the ultimate car chase. I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
out there too, and I just now started the lot search today.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pop some money in the old truck and then wait until that's all paid off. And once it's paid off, and I'll figure something out from there and do some home improvements maybe. Or just blow all my money on other things.
What kind of things?
I don't know.
You gotta get yourself a sandcrawler.
Probably not my first choice.
It'd be a B-wing, right?
You shut your mouth. Yeah. Shut your dirty mouth. So yeah, I guess that's all for Jedi Council, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we do have a pretty extensive look through Alphabet Squadron. This is obviously containing spoilers, complete spoilers. So if you haven't read it, I don't know what you've been doing. You might have,
might have been working like me. I don't know.
I guess, because we all know I don't work. But so we're gonna run through that. But first, we're gonna talk a little HoloNet here because there's something really cool. And for those of you who don't follow us on Twitter,
shame on you.
Yeah, do it. Just at TC Plan Podcast. You can go there. You can find us. I've been tweeting when I can, and yesterday basically. We got the drop that
old Yui.
We got a little possible Kenobi TV series coming to Disney Plus. Now, let me put it to you this way. We haven't gotten anything like official. Like Kathleen Kennedy didn't come out and say, hey, guess what? We're doing this. But
probably because she's scared.
Well, we'll see. But, I think, what did I say? Comics.com or whatever. They when they drop news, it's usually pretty well confirmed. But I think Variety also had an article with it too. So
and now everyone's just talking about people who have no idea whatsoever. But
pretty
credible sources.
But basically, the whole story is that Ewan McGregor it was signing on to do TV series, also looking at directing a couple of them. I think it's the perfect time to do it. We've all been clamoring for, something Kenobi related. It's going to be interesting to see what it could be specifically. Like, is it, I would have to assume because of his age, it's going to be.
Is he ready for old Ben? You think?
No.
He's aged pretty well,
not.
so.
No.
He's not that old.
I think that this is going to be the time, in between him dropping Luke off and on Tatooine with his aunt and uncle, and what happens in that time frame.
Yeah, it's a perfect time for him. It's kind of like how guy who played Palpatine said the same thing. I was pretty much perfect for these roles because I aged with him. Ewan did too. Yep.
So I don't think he just stayed on Tatooine all those years doing nothing.
No, he probably hung out with Dax a lot.
Well, what do you know?
Aren't you all dead now?
You remember that time you came to the diner?
I showed you darts and talked about them with you and tried to hide all the kids in the back of the diner.
Whoa.
All my little slave children.
He was a creepy character. So anyway, I think it'll be interesting. Like I said, I think he had adventures.
Yeah.
I think he had adventures, and if he didn't, maybe it'll just be
He went and tried those death sticks finally.
Now he's just hanging up pictures. The first episode, how he stole his house. The second episode, doing renovations. The third episode, I don't know.
He made a fire pit out back.
And the next 6 episodes, how he learned how to scream at the sand
Force
people.
scream. The trick is waving your arms about.
Just waving your arms about, and when you're done screaming, just keep waving.
Yeah.
You gotta make your presence known. Like with a bear, you gotta make yourself seem bigger than what you are.
Force bear.
Oh goodness. Anyway, I'm excited. What did you think when you saw that drop?
Well, the first thing I thought was perfect timing. We got Maul back. We're going to have our Kenobi series. We're going to have the final epic showdown between them. We're going to have, I don't know, toddler Luke's years. We're going to get to see him.
Yeah, how interesting could that be? What if, what if he's observing Luke and maybe Luke does some Force stuff when he's a kid, that he doesn't remember.
Be pretty cool. Get like a 7 to 8 year old Luke, just old enough to start kind of messing around with the Force.
Yeah,
maybe he just forgot they could do it.
He gets angry and he sends something flying. Yeah. Oh crap!
Uncle Horn's gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah, I don't. And maybe you get a little bit more of Owen and Beru.
Yeah.
Because they were younger when they dropped when Luke was dropped on their doorstep, so to speak. But maybe it might focus a little bit more on them and possibly their relationship with Obi-Wan and why they're kind of like in New Hope he's a crazy old hermit or whatever because they know who he is.
Right.
I mean they met with him, give him the kid. They know. So maybe there was something that Obi-Wan wanted to do, maybe at some point.
Start his training earlier.
Well, maybe he had a thought about starting training for Luke, and Uncle Owen was like, no, I know what it did to... Wouldn't it be crazy...
I need him for my moisture farm.
Well, wouldn't it be crazy if you got a confrontation like... Yeah.
He's not going to be like his father.
I saw what happened to his father.
Yeah.
I saw what happened to him, and you weren't able to stop that. So what makes you think that
you're going to be any better with him?
That you could be any better? Yeah. And maybe you could get like progressively getting older because Luke knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. He knows of old Ben,
old Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if they mean old Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he obviously knows who Ben Kenobi is. So maybe they had maybe taught him how to shoot bullseye womp rats.
That's T-15 or T-16.
That's who taught him. Old Ben.
Question is, could we get a little bit with Bale or any of the other characters? Bale, did he have any contact with him after he went into seclusion?
Maybe. Well, but okay, let's just drop the pretense and let's get to the heart of the matter. What about all the Force teachings with Force Ghost Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Come on. All this time.
Yeah, that's what we really care about.
I obviously, that could be something. Do you think Liam Neeson would be down?
Oh, that would be amazing if he was. He'd have to be. He would have to be.
What's he going to do? Taken 15? Come on, Liam.
How are you not going to be Qui-Gon again?
I think that would would tie in because obviously he learned. He has continued his learnings, and part of the adventures could be stuff where he was going on pilgrimages or finding something to help him get to the point that he was in A New Hope.
Yeah.
So,
and again, we have Maul, so there's always that too.
Listen, he cut him in half once. He'll cut him in quarters this time.
So you haven't seen that fight, have you?
No. And, I am woefully behind in Clone Wars. It was one of those things.
Well, that's Rebels.
Or excuse me.
Rebels,
Yeah, sorry. That was you're right. You're right. Again, it just kind of proves how out of touch I was with it. I just never got into them. I did start the first season of Rebels here recently. I love it. I actually think I like it better than Clone Wars. No offense.
That's a bold statement. I mean, I don't have much of a preference either way. I didn't watch Rebels.
We'll see once I get past the first season. But yeah, I mean, that was some stuff that I just really wasn't super into getting into. But I love them, and I think that they're great. Now, Resistance might be a little bit shakier for me. I don't know. I just don't know about that. And they did announce season 2 of Resistance. It looks like that's it though for Resistance. But no, I think Rebels seems to be a really good show. I'm really loving the characters, and I still need to finish off Clone Wars too. But hey, man, that Disney Plus. Once we get to Disney Plus, it'll be no problem. They only have so many seasons. I can get it half price bookstore.
You can just you can give away your entire Star Wars collection then.
I'm good, man.
Every DVD, you don't need them anymore. Minimalism.
Yeah, you're the minimalist. I got crap all over the place.
I'm just waiting for the 9-piece movie bundle.
Yeah,
because it's going to be epic
for sure.
It's only going to be $600.
Yeah, I mean, you get the ultraviolet copy.
What if it was all like in a Millennium Falcon? You just peeled back layers of the Millennium Falcon, and it was each disc.
Ooh.
Or what if it was a massive Millennium Falcon? You could take bits apart and all the DVDs were hidden, or Blu-rays were hidden in the Millennium Falcon.
There you go, Disney. Pay us. That's an idea. Cha-ching.
And all the, the smuggling holes of the Millennium Falcon where they hid.
Whoa. Smuggling holes? Yeah. What kind of holes are you talking about?
All the little panels. Each panel is one DVD.
Oh, Darth, I think we're just going dark.
At this point, the Millennium Falcon is the size of our table. Hiding these DVDs.
We're going too dark. All right. We've got a lot to talk about here. We have Alphabet Squadron, and it is one of those books that I was very excited for. What was your level of excitement? Just
not much going in. Not much.
Okay. I can't finish questions today. Is that how it's going to be? I'm just kidding. No, I get that. I think when I heard about it, it was one of those deals where I kind of had a thought about what this was going to be going in. Yeah. And I kind of was proven right for the most part.
Well, and the main thing, you just wanted, tie-ins to Jyn Erso and Rogue One, right?
Well, I mean...
That's why you bought the book, right?
Not exactly. Okay, so let's go through some characters. Okay, we'll go through some characters and we'll talk.
Probably should mention the author real quick.
No. Alexander Freed.
Yeah,
that guy. I did see him at the Lucasfilm Publishing panel at Celebration. He'd kind of talked a little bit about Alphabet Squadron at the time. Obviously, he did the Rogue One novelization, and what was the other one? I'm trying to reach my book. Because it's all in here. I can't remember. There was another. Was it Battlefront or?
Not sure. I haven't read any of his Star Wars books, so I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I think it was written in here, but for the love of me, it doesn't look like it. That's cool. I don't need to. But anyway, I mean, I know for a fact he had also did the Rogue One novelization. And there was some tie-in for that, but let's start with characters. Okay, yeah. So let's start with the actual.
Hated them all.
Shut up so hard. Okay, so we have Yrica Quell, spelled with a Y.
All the spell.
Yrica Quell.
Quill.
So she was a former Imperial TIE fighter pilot.
Defector.
Yep, a defector. We find her in the beginning in Trader's Remorse, which is where they send defectors.
That's right. She has a little She's chased by her old squadron mates, the 204th.
Yep, which was called Shadow Wing.
Yeah. The major, Sarin Keys, is killed in the chase. And a couple other pilot mates, and she actually has 2 others that tried to escape with her.
Well, okay. So in the beginning of the book, the story that she told was, she was, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe the planet was Necronus.
Yes,
and I was just going to do characters first, but I mean we can kind of jump in a little bit here. So Operation Cinder. Was a part of the Emperor's contingency plan. And basically that was, contingency plan, which was essentially just a dick move.
Yeah.
Where
just pure rage.
Yeah. He was just destroying planets.
Yep. Billions.
So this
murdered.
Right. So the story goes is that Erica Quell, I think she was like first lieutenant or something in this. And, she goes to Necronus with the unit, and then, oh no, I can't do this, and so on and so forth, and basically everybody dies, and she's left on the planet. She's got a broken arm, and blah blah blah. So I guess chronologically, the next character would be
ITO.
Well, Karen Aiden.
Yeah,
Karen Aiden is a intelligence officer. I don't remember his species, but he has like the little stalks.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks humanoid except for the stalks. And he basically kind of recruits Quell for a project. And then you're right. Probably one of the cooler droids, ITO, which was a former Imperial torture droid, turned psychiatrist.
Into psychiatrist and doctor.
Yeah. So, and Erica she doesn't like the droid. She doesn't really like anybody, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, Karen Aiden is actually a very interesting character. He's obviously we figured out he's an intelligence officer, might have a little bit of a drinking problem, likes his Corellian red. But we find out a little bit later, and I'm not going to go super deep into this right at the moment. Cough break. But he was basically like a news reporter. And sanctioned by the Empire, except one day he was put in prison for 29 months.
Yeah.
And after that, he basically wanted to kill them all.
Pretty much. And he killed them.
Well, he's a rageful individual. Yeah. Now, our next character from the squadron, mind you, that we meet is Nath Tenzin, who was a former Imperial. Go ahead. Sorry.
How did you picture Nath Tenzin? Just listening to the audiobook, reading the book?
For me, I kind of thought of him as like a kind of a big, burly kind of guy.
Bristled, a little bit older.
Gristled, maybe, a couple scars, some gray in the hair, maybe stubble, 5 o'clock shadow, little smell of, cheap whiskey.
Well, what we actually find out is he's literally the main character from Last Samurai.
Yeah, there was a picture that I stumbled upon, and I showed you they did, drawings of the characters.
Very well done, too.
They're cool, but Nath has like long hair. He's got like a top knot.
Yeah.
And I that's not
younger,
what I pictured.
too. He looks like he's like 25.
Yeah, because in this, I kind of view him as slightly, maybe 40s.
40 or 50, yeah.
But yeah, he was a former Imperial. He defected before Endor, way before. He had a unit.
They kind of became pirates for a little while.
Yeah, there's a lot of unscrupulous stuff. There's some hints to his debt that he has outstanding. Yeah. There was even one party said, well, I've taken hostages before.
Yeah. And he even straight up says, my crew weren't good people.
Right.
But I still cared for them.
Yeah. But they were fighting for the Rebel Alliance. Yeah. Until they encountered Shadow Wing.
Yep.
And they basically destroyed everyone except him. And he was, kind of left out to just entrepreneurial himself with the mining guild. And Erica goes to recruit him. That's her first mission. And doesn't go exactly so well in the beginning.
Well,
she gets drugged.
He tries to kill her, you know.
Well, I mean, she does tell him in that first encounter, not at first, but eventually, that she was a pilot for the 204th.
And she's open with that with everyone. Not that I would be if I were her personally, but
It just all depends.
Says it to Karen Aiden right away. And,
Karen already knew.
Yeah.
But you're right. She had been fairly open about that, but people were going to know. I think it would have gotten out. But yeah, Nath doesn't want to join until a certain other character, which you're going to have to remember her name because I keep forgetting it.
Kairos.
I don't know why. It's just it never comes to me naturally.
It's a unique name, but whenever I think of her name, I always end up saying Karen.
Yeah. So Kairos is a bit of a mystery, and she remains a mystery. I kind of thought, she could be like some sort of weird Wookiee.
Yeah.
Because they talk about a bowcaster with her a lot, but she's got a mask and wrappings, and she doesn't talk.
She's kind of a throwaway character, in my opinion, but
I think
she could have more character progression.
I think she'll be bigger. This is supposed to be a trilogy, so I think she'll have more later.
Spoiler alert, they all, the squad. Yeah.
No,
they don't all just die from shadowing like all their individual squads.
Well, hold on. Don't get too far at it. So anyway, again, what was her name?
Kairos. Already? Wow.
So yeah, Kairos basically goes in, talks to Nath, and somehow convinces him. We don't really get the why for that, though.
Right. There's a respect there, but it's very wary.
Well,
they aren't comrades, but...
So then we kind of do some jumping to another mission. There are a couple squadrons protecting a ship called the Hellions Dare.
Which is one of my, if not my favorite part of this entire book.
It does have some really epic moments. Yeah. So we have Riot Squadron and Hound Squadron. And we're specifically introduced to two main characters, Will Lark in Riot Squadron and Chastna Chaddock in Hound Squadron. Will is different. He's a different... He's
idealistic. He's very humble, very noble, but
he
he's
also kind of has
off.
He kind of has a savior complex as well.
He does.
He's definitely one to go out of his way. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you all right? Are you all right?
You okay? You okay? I'm going to keep poking you. You okay?
So, but we do learn a little bit later about some of his backstory, and we'll get to that here in a bit. And then we have Chastna Chaddock, who is... what was her species? Thelan.
Yes.
So she's the whole Thelan bloodlines are a little bit weird. The whole species seems to be a little bit diluted, but anyway, she's gruff. She likes music, and she just says what she feels.
Yeah,
she's very kind of in your face. We also have a couple of other sub characters here. Renunja, who was the commander of Riot Squadron. Sunagari, who is also in Riot, and Satanik. Yeah. Excuse me, something stuck in my throat there. That's what she said. Anyway, so Satanik is actually one of Will's really good friends.
Really interesting character, yeah.
He's a little bit boisterous. He likes to tell stories. Yeah. He's kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of like a jock, He just goes out there and does what he needs to do.
Yeah.
But and I think there was a little bit of a sort of a thing between
they were kind of flirting.
Her and Chas. There was a lot of a lot of flirting. She had a dream about his beak.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that he has a beak. He's like a bird man of some kind.
Well, he's like some fish bird. I didn't really look up his species.
I didn't either.
Sorry. But anyway, the Hellions Dare mission doesn't go well. They're being effectively picked apart by Shadow Wing in one of their light. It's like a light trooper, light cruiser. And
they keep making the jump to light space, but unfortunately, Shadow Wing keeps following them, and they can't get away. They're just kind of limping along, waiting for the end at this point. They keep losing more and more people every jump.
Well, and then eventually the Hellions Dare loses its hyperdrive.
Yeah.
We do get a couple of sort of quote identifiers of some of the TIE pilots. We've got Blink and Char.
Blink has only one laser cannon. Yeah. Char's got a lot of carbon scoring.
Yeah. And
neither of these fighters should be alive. The fact that they are,
it's great. They're good
shows
pilots.
their skill.
But one of the things that was super interesting about that, and I feel like, again, I was just trying to talk characters. We're getting off into the whole story. But at one point, they're limping along, and Will opens just open channel.
Yeah.
And he tries to talk to the TIE pilots.
Yeah.
And Blink is the one who returns, and it starts to seem like,
It's okay. They're, you know, they're not friendly,
what
but
are
they're
your
gonna,
identifying markings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost lost a cannon too. And then, oh my goodness, he goes into this whole story about, God, what was that?
We probably should have looked into that a little bit more. Basically, it's an old religious tale of.
I was just trying to think of the place, because like the something mall.
Yeah.
Like Chandra Mall or something like
Chandra
that.
Mall.
Chandra Mall, maybe.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And essentially, yeah, there was a people that had this sort of religious practice of, you know, like they'd take ships out there, and then the dust would get in there and get in their eye, in my eyes, and they'd go crazy. Yeah. And, you know, it was like sort of like a touch of God. And he was like, well, you know, the mall's judging you, Will Lark, and it finds you wanting.
It's going to consume you.
Yeah.
You're going to die out here.
It was creepy.
Yeah,
it got real creepy.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, again, these TIE pilots are pretty much zealots at this point. You know, they want to kill you.
Yeah.
There's no peace. You know, it was dumb.
They can't back down.
No.
There's no quarter for them.
Well, they're assured of victory.
Yeah.
They believe that they're going to win. So anyway, eventually they do get basically picked off. The Hellions Dare is taken apart. You know, Hound Squadron was the first to go, and then Chas was the last one of her unit. She joins Riot.
You get some really heartfelt moments when they're kind of just stuck floating around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comms chatter where they share a lot of their own backstories, their own little quirks. There's one that writes down comments from all of the squad mates and has made like a little book throughout the years. Poetry. Yeah.
Yeah. There was also that game they played. It's like where would you die or something like that.
Where, when, and
who,
how, or why. Yeah. And one of them's like, and Will's the one that kills me.
Yeah. Well,
I forget who said. I think it's Renunja. I can't remember
maybe
who does it.
But I know that this is actually part of where we get in Chaz's sort of, you know, hero complex a little bit. And eventually when we get through some of these backstories, I want to specifically go through characteristics. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just say that Will and Chaz were the last ones surviving from the unit.
Yeah.
Chaz wanted to continue to fight. Will did get a transmission from the Hellions Dare, so he's like, we got to get out of here, and he basically makes Chaz go. Yeah. And that's something that Chaz does not forgive until much later. She is mad.
She's blaming Will for the deaths of his entire squadron, essentially.
Well, he took away...
Mainly Satanique, but...
He took away her vengeance.
Option.
He took away her choice.
Yeah. And that's mentioned multiple times.
Yes. So they do wind up coming back. Quell, through her research, does sort of figure out where they're going to be. They get them aboard, blah, blah, blah. They get transmissions, everything's cool.
Yeah, because at this entire time, Quell's trying to rescue the Dare, get to them in time.
She's trying to prove herself. So we've pretty much went over the squadron. So let's go ahead and go individual. Let's talk characteristics, likes, dislikes. Erica Quell. Let's talk about her. What were your impressions? What were your likes and dislikes about Erica?
Very focused, determined, very skilled. Not a lot of... Would be a good word for it. Soul. I would say she just doesn't have much compelling characteristics as far as humanizing factors go. She cares for her squadron, but she's not willing to actually open up to them. She can't communicate with them when it's not work related. We do find out she was essentially going to become a member of the rebellion when she was younger. She wanted to become a pilot, and she kind of just falls into the trap of, well, I'll just get my training through the academy. I'll stay with the Imperials for a little while, and she eventually just kind of falls into it and stays and becomes, I don't know, just she loses her passion.
Let me run this past you here, because I actually think Yrica's character is very important. And I wrote a sticky note at work because I was listening to some of this today, and I wrote this down. Yrica is one of the worst kinds of people. She's a coward and she's a traitor to her own ideals. She has all the Imperial prejudices. She's slow to change and slow to adapt.
But she's not willing to fight and die for those prejudices and prejudices and beliefs. I can't talk.
But that's not necessarily true. Let's just drop the bombshell. Do you want to just drop the bombshell? Because this is essentially the end of the book. Yrica Quell participated actively in Operation Cinder. She didn't stop. She didn't question it. She did it. Now, in the beginning of the book, her story to try and get into the rebellion, or, well, now the New Republic, was that, no, I tried to stop them. She didn't stop them at all. When she was young, like you said, she thought about being in the rebellion. So she said, well, you know what? I'll go to the academy to learn how to fly, and then I'll defect. It's like, well, you know what? But I'm going to become an officer, and then I'll defect. Well, you know, I'm going to do this, and I'll... She's a coward. She doesn't... She goes through the path of least resistance. I think it was ITO who pointed this out at one point. You're someone who excels at the first step, but then doesn't do what's required after that. So one of the reasons why I think that this is...
A lot of half measures.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I think she's such an important character is because there are so many people like this who live their lives on half measures and half truths and say, I'm going to do the right thing, and then don't. Yrica is a traitor. She is a murderer. She is not a good person.
It's funny because at the beginning, when she's observing all these people at Trader's Remorse and comments on every single day, every person who comes in is worse bastards. Than they're worse than the last, and they always had the chance once Cinder started to leave, and you know,
she did Cinder.
Yeah, she was part of all that,
and I think it's all a part of her. And listen, I do think that she wants to pay it back, make it right. She does.
But can you?
That's a tough one. Can you? When I reread through this again, I started thinking about Nazi war criminals. Operation Paperclip, where we took Nazi war criminals and scientists and used them for things. And is that an X-Files episode? But anyway, can you forgive someone for atrocity? Can they be redeemed? Can Yrica Quell be redeemed for atrocity? Because she followed it blindly. And that was something that Major Soren Keyes, who was the one who got her out finally, her commanding officer, said at the end of the book. He said, if you would do this, you would do anything for the Empire. You would do anything.
And there's a sickness in her. He comments on that, and it will eventually destroy you from the inside out. We don't have this sickness. We don't need to get out, but you do.
And I want to elaborate on that.
I don't know if she has that sickness.
We might have different viewpoints on this, but I want you to explain your viewpoint, and then I also want to explain mine there. But Soren Keyes basically orders her, because she even challenges, like, is this an order?
Yeah.
It's like, are you this dumb? But let's talk about that sickness, because the way I view the sickness from Soren Keyes' perspective, Soren Keyes is an Imperial.
Through and through.
I don't believe that he's anything other than an Imperial. Just maybe a better Imperial. Because there are some good things about the Empire. There's just a lot of bad, too, and corruption. But the sickness is that you are not an Imperial at heart. And that sickness is eventually you will not be able to follow where I'm going.
Yeah, because you don't see the vision I see. You don't have the motivations I have.
Yeah, because you've questioned this before. And she did. She confided in him throughout the years about her sympathies for the rebels and her pity for the rebels and, her, maybe her dislike of the way things are going. So I think that's the sickness that we're talking about, is that she's not Imperial enough for what Soren is eventually going to do.
And I think her loyalties really didn't line up with the Empire as much as the Emperor himself, because that is referenced multiple times that, she has a lot of respect for the Emperor, not so much the officers and the lieutenants and the Grand Moffs and all that.
Well, I mean, she has some of that, but she also doesn't think he was altogether righteous. But the big thing for her, at least in my opinion, is she was loyal to her compatriots, her colleagues, her pilots, her subordinates, her, whatever, the people around her squad. That's where I think her heart lied. But there were descriptors in there about like her, there was one part where, they were cheering when we destroyed a rebel cruiser, all this stuff. It's like, you don't do that if you really don't always agree with it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of flaws in there, but I think it's an important character to have, because the one thing I loved about this, each one of them is different. And Erica is one of those characters that most people are not going to like, but it's very important that she's in there, in my opinion.
So the question is, did you like her character?
No, I don't like her. I liked the character. I like the character being in the book, but
I agree.
I would never be able to necessarily trust her.
Yeah, because you really did need that offset from, everyone else. Gung-ho, rebellion, they all hate the Empire. To have that thrown in the mix, especially as the leader, Well,
we have a part where they go to one of the planets, her and Chaz, and another, what was that? I don't remember what that species was, but they were kind of like insectoid species. And, it's like, we've got merchandise, and it wound up being Imperial stormtroopers. And she's upset that they're reduced to, these proud Imperial stormtroopers are reduced to fear. It's like, that's all they instilled was fear. When they died, because they died, spoilers, she was so upset about that. You killed my people. She still always views them as that's her people. So a lot of that, she just had those split loyalties, and she caught herself at times like, oh, I got to remember to cheer for the right side, the quote right side.
You shouldn't have to remember that if you actually have a passion for what you're doing.
So, but no, I think it's an important character to have. So let's go on to Nath Tenzin. Former Imperial, former Rebel pilot, semi-retired, kind of a scoundrel.
Once a pirate.
Yeah. So what were your impressions of Nath?
Nath Tenzin was, I think, a better representation of a defector of the Empire. The thing about Erica Quell is, being a defector, she still had a lot of respect for the Empire, understood a lot of things they did. Nath didn't. He just, at this point, he hated everything about them, completely delusioned by what he's seen throughout his years. The only thing he really cared about was his squad.
Yeah.
And losing them.
His droid.
And his droid.
His old droid.
And losing them, well, and his ship. He is very fond of his ship.
Yeah, don't
Doesn't
touch
like anybody
ship.
touching
Don't touch
his ship. Why'd you put that seal on my ship? It's cool, but why'd you do that? When he lost them, he essentially lost his purpose. Karen kind of gave him that back in spying on Erica.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, of course, just like everything else. Karen is a very... I'm sorry, Karen. Nath is a very layered character compared to Erica. I think he's more compelling as a character. He is one of my favorite squad members.
So, Erica was given leadership of the squadron.
Could have gone to Nath very easily.
Yeah, Nath is probably would have been a more reluctant leader to be honest, because he lost his squadron. That's another thing. Aside from Quell, the other, 4 people were all like the last of their potential squadrons. So Nath Tenzin is a bit of a scoundrel, not quite the most moral man, definitely doesn't have a problem with revenge, although
he battles with it.
It's very specific revenge.
It's more for his squad mates than for him.
Yeah. Very personable, very people person. I think he uses that a lot of times to mask certain insecurities and things that he's feeling. Confident and resourceful. But yeah, could have easily been a leader. Admits he's not the greatest pilot in the world, but okay, but he survived. I don't know. He was definitely a cool character, but sometimes he kind of questioned the overall morality of things. And to be honest with you, like even Will, who views him as a friend, doesn't always trust him.
Right.
So, but no, very cool.
There were times in the book I thought he was going to end up being a traitor. I'm not going to lie.
Sure, I understand that. So let's move on to Will. Will Lark. Will has a very interesting backstory.
You know nothing, Will Lark.
So Will came from a planet that was different, very different. Kind of a communal living sort of deal. Kids would go from house to house and they just do whatever needed to be done. He was, what were those creatures he would ride? You probably don't remember.
The pterodactyls.
I don't know what they were called.
I can't remember.
So basically this planet was, it started with a P, the imperial designation, like something or other, Pelion or parallelogram. I don't know.
No, it was Pella something. I can't.
So the Imperials were
Pelothon.
I don't
Like
know.
that.
But the Imperials were involved in this planet. They had like orbital space weapon things that they were building, which was poisoning the planet. And the people were trying to like levy the Senate, levy the Emperor. It's like, come on, you got to give us help. It's like, yeah, we'll totally help you. And they never do. So their people who are not necessarily fighters reach out to the rebellion and say, help us and we'll help you. We will send you our best pilots. And each village sent a tribute. So they're kind of like Hunger Games.
Yeah.
A tribute is required.
Yeah, they even reference like how many are still out there.
Yeah, it's like 120 or
Yeah,
something.
Will
like
knows
that.
exactly how many. They're they're all very close, even though they're nowhere near each other. They know a lot about each other.
So Will was the obvious pick for his village. And, he was at the Battle of Endor.
Fought along Luke Skywalker.
Flying around doing his Will Lark thing.
Not making a big deal about it.
No, he did.
It was just Endor. It was just Endor.
And really, the only thing that he gets super passionate about is when he's able to talk about his home. He's not really flashy, but he's very...
Starting off, he's getting ready to retire.
It's true. He wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
But they just keep pulling me back in.
Just one more mission.
Well, that's something that Aiden uses against him is he has an inherent love of his friends, of his co-pilots, of his squad. So he's talked to staying in. Compassionate guy, maybe a little overly compassionate at times.
A little bit of a hero complex, for sure.
For sure. And, there's a little bit of the flirty flirt with Chaz initially when they meet, and then she hates him, and then she loves him, and she kind of hates him again, but, they dance at the end. It's good.
It's all good.
Just dance. Little David Bowie comes on, and they just dance their night away.
And now he just, he gets in his ship and talks to it all the time.
Yeah, that was funny. Satnik and him are just, they are really good friends, but he does it when they were protecting the Hellions Dare. He talks to his ship. Yeah. It's like, listen, it's like your ship has betrayed you, Will Lark. So
we all knew we'd get something embarrassing out of you eventually.
Yeah.
Will Lark talks to his ship, everyone. Oh, we're dead now.
Yeah, we're dead. But he carries around a lot of guilt about the Hellions Dare situation and losing his squadron. Puts a lot on his shoulders. But he's also the one who can be the most social, definitely likes to try and reach out to Nath. And even though he tries to have some distance from Chaz, it doesn't always work. He kind of tries to force things a little bit.
And as we're told many, 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 many times, he's not naive, but he's very willing to open up to people.
Yeah, it's true.
How many times did they say that
Yeah,
as a
that was
descriptor
said
for
quite
him?
a bit, for sure.
And it's always about Nath, too. It's like, just accept your friends.
Exactly.
Quit fighting it. I mean, you're buddies.
So that's Will.
You're
and-
drinking buddies.
True. So let's go ahead and go over
Kairos, the most interesting.
Yeah, Kairos. Kairos doesn't. Her backstory doesn't really become apparent. I think eventually it will. Very mysterious mask wrappings. You very
Wookiee.
rarely hear her talk. Well, that was my first thought. I mean, honestly, I thought she was like just some sort of Wookiee.
Well, who else uses the caster? I mean,
That's something. But there is a connection between her and Karen Aiden. There is a major connection between the two of them. I believe that she helped him escape prison. That's my thought, or something else. But she can be violent. You know, they kind of talk about sometimes when she's like battling people and she's just killing them,
she's clearly an assassin
or
at nature.
something like that. So yeah, that's her.
She's a death trooper.
So yeah, she's cool though. She'd be somebody cool to have on your side, but not much into her. So let's move on to Chas. Thielen likes music.
Loves music.
Does
Even Imperial hymns.
anything music basically. And I thought that was kind of cool. There was the one, when they were battling their last battle, and it's like the background music kind of kicks on to doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
And it changes, and so they kind of integrated that into the audio.
That was pretty cool.
But
there's this one one section of the book where she's just kind of going through her stuff like, who's gonna get my music if I'm dead?
yeah, she writes it for Hera.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Hera Syndulla's in here? Yeah, she is. We'll get to it in a second. But headstrong. Very headstrong, sort of.
And Jyn Erso's
Anarchist.
best friend. Jyn Erso's best friend.
Well, that was a tie-in to Rogue One. She was on the streets of, I don't remember the planet, basically bumps into a deal she shouldn't have that involved Jyn Erso. The other thugs that, Jyn was dealing with, were like going to put a shock collar on her or something. Because everybody just walks around with a shock collar.
Bumped into him, yeah.
You offended me. That's literally the line.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
You offended me. Here's a shock collar. But Jyn kills them all and saves her, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's a great
Best
story.
friends.
She has a lot of respect, but she has the ultimate hero complex.
Yeah. She wants to die for her cause, essentially.
Well, and that's the thing is like towards the end, what are you dying for?
Yeah.
You're not dying for any cause, really. You're just dying.
Yeah.
In taking somebody with you. And I think I really, really did like the character. I thought it was cool. I liked her attitude. She's not somebody who's just going to be told what to do. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, you know what? Why does she have this death wish? Like, what is the reasoning behind just wanting to, just take everyone with you? You're taking it away from me. It's like, well, but
Don't
how
take
is
the
that going to
choice
help?
from me.
She's very short-sighted.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they don't really explain it, and hopefully they will in the next book, because she needs a little more development. We got a lot of Will. We got a lot of Erica. We definitely need to hear more about her and Kairos.
She's very reluctant to share her stories.
Yeah. And that's even mentioned multiple times when they have their little campfires, and she's like, maybe I will. No, I cannot.
Yeah, for sure.
She does open up little bits and pieces, but she even makes it clear I'm giving half truths to all these stories.
But no, I mean, still, I think a very, very valuable part to the squadron. She's just not. Throughout the book, she's just not going to take crap. She's not going to bow down, and that can be kind of a detriment a little bit. So, let's also talk about Karen Aiden. We've kind of talked about him a little bit so far. Intelligence officer, imprisoned, bit of an a-hole.
Yeah.
Not a very nice guy.
No.
But
he's actually referenced as a coward, ironically, by Erica Quell.
Well, but that's because she has no idea who he is.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't like field work, but he's an intelligence officer, but he's not a coward. And I think that a lot of people, and I've listened to some other people review the book, I actually liked him a lot more than I think other people did.
See, I enjoyed his character as well. I felt like he was needed.
Well, very much so. I mean, he's the one that, was able to glean intelligence. When they brought back that stormtrooper, he was the one who interrogated him and got information out of him. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that, you need intelligence. And his whole point throughout this book, and some will point to his ego, and some of it probably is, but he's got a good point where it's like, you can't just have this big shoot 'em up cowboy military. You've got to have intelligence backing behind it so that we can be preventative as opposed to reflexive.
Yeah, which is something that the New Republic isn't very good at.
Well, most people just want them to disband everything.
Yeah.
And have nothing in its place, and that's a big problem I have with Mon Mothma, but whatever. That's a different talk. So, yeah, Karen Aiden, I actually like the character. I think that's another one that I think will develop further. But he's also one that I would be very surprised if he lives the entire
I would see him dying
trilogy.
in the second book.
Well, he's essentially blackmailing Erica Quell. Because as we said, she actually took part in Cinder. She lied.
Yeah.
And
he gets the file.
Well, because of Nath's digging.
Reconnaissance work.
He gets the file. So he officially knows, and he's like, at the very end of the battle, the final battle, Erica is down on the planet. She's basically concussed. She's screwed up. Karen Aiden comes down and has that confrontation. And, she tells him everything. And she asks, "What are you going to do?" And he's like, "Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything.
Doesn't benefit me to screw you over, to help you. I mean,
you're going to work for me.
You got a job.
You're going to work for me.
You're not going to question
But
me
the
anymore.
implication is that if you don't play ball, I'm going to tell everybody your secret. And
no
then
more punching me in the gut."
Well, yeah. But he was right, because like Erica along the story, because so throughout her arc, she's trying to prove herself a lot, like overcompensate. She goes to steal a ship to follow a lead, even though she's not supposed to, and she finds her droid. I didn't write down the name of her droid. Really cool little droid, not meant for battle. Was like a capital ship maintenance droid, but actually was a hero, really a pretty big hero for her in that battle.
Even tries to defend her and get himself blamed and
fire. There was the one mission that went bad, and Hera had some deep conversations with Erica about her leadership, and after the one bad mission, it's like even your droid was trying to resign. It's like, let me stop here and let me talk about droids a little bit. Erica has that aversion to droids.
Yeah,
it's a prejudice. Droids in the Star Wars universe have personalities. They're not,
static beings.
A lot of them are more sentient than what, if we're in Terminator world, would want them to be. But, her droid actually tried very hard. There was a part where it's like, he'd give me all this data, but then write me a nice little summary at the bottom of the screen so I understood what he was trying to say. He was very thorough, doing all this good stuff. It's like, but she never wants to openly connect with a droid until the very end when she, kind of has a little moment with ITO. Is like, yeah, well, we can be friends for tonight.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun because there is one little scene where she basically is like, "You're doing really good, buddy. You're a really good droid." And he just he makes no noises and just looks around for a second, then goes away.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about this. What are you doing?
You're being nice to me. It's weird.
Yeah. So we bounced all around so much, I don't even know where I'm at. I think we were still talking about Karen, and then we just got into the whole backstory. But, Aiden is somebody who he started all this. He saw the potential for a squadron of people that
all have different ships.
Well, that was just coincidental. But, you know, he saw this potential to get these people together to create an intelligent unit that analyzed situations and could bring swift resolution. And it kind of did work. Kind of not 100% though. So it wasn't a super happy ending.
No.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the missions here. So we had their first quote mission where they were messing with the mines. And what was it? What exact? I don't remember what happened.
Well, they go through Imperial space where the 204th has set up mines, sweeper mines. They do encounter the 201st in this first mission, I do believe, and they encounter one fighter unit and are nearly destroyed in the process.
I thought that was just something with the mines, that they almost were destroyed by the mines.
They went up against something.
Okay,
I can't remember what.
Let's just say the mission ends badly, and they're grounded. Hera, Hera's in this? Yeah, Hera Syndulla's in this. So anyway, we'll talk about her later. Oh, goodness, it's getting late. Anyway, first mission is a failure. They're grounded, simulators only. Eventually, they're given another chance. Hera sends them...
loading equipment.
Hera Syndulla's in this?
Really?
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about her later. So anyway, Harrison... No, I'm just kidding. She starts to overstep Aiden, which obviously makes him go nuts. But she sends him on basically a pickup mission for supplies on a
go
planet.
get these supplies. If they're important, great. If not, well, at least the Imperials don't get it.
But here's the thing. It was actually very important, and she knew what she was doing when she sent them there. So they go to this planet, and there's a big old tree. It's a tree fort. Woo!
Hey, I wonder if there's a pollen that does weird things to using pollen on that tree.
Well, it's actually a Jedi temple that she sends them to, and they had hidden supplies there, a cache of things. And, they do spend some time on this planet loading and so forth and having fireside chats. This is where they start to tell their stories. Okay, let me run this by you. What did you think about when somebody went to start to tell a story and it said, and this was the story that they told?
Oh, it's just so epic. It's just so amazing, especially when it's actually that person doing the dialogue and then it says that.
I don't want to nitpick. I just thought it was kind of funny because as soon as
it's like every time too, it's weird.
And this is the story that they told. I really did like the narrator for the audiobook though.
Yes.
She did a really excellent job, was able to change voices.
Renunja and Satanique were pretty funny.
They
were pretty good.
It was good. So I should probably have her name. But anyway, they're telling their stories. They're actually bonding a lot.
Yeah.
Quell's still off by herself.
Yeah, she will not bond with her squadron whatsoever. She doesn't want to tell stories. She doesn't think she should fraternize with them.
Well, then they come to the trippy hippie day where it all just lights up, man. They're looking up the tree at the stars, and it's like... And this is the quote, the magic, the force of things, reaching out to these people. And this is what I found interesting. The stars are changing. It's like, this is as the world was, as the world could be, as the world is. And it's almost as if the force has something for these people.
If only one of them was a sensitive.
Well, yeah, we talked about that a little bit because there were some things that Nath had said, and then like he recognized this place as a Jedi temple. He's like, "Well, how'd you know?" It's like, I don't know.
Something told me in my mind.
And my thought was, is Nath a Force sensitive? I mean, he doesn't.
That'd be pretty cool little backstory.
Well, he talks about luck a lot in piloting. It's like, well, maybe all your luck and maybe the reason why you're alive is because you've got some connection with the Force. You just don't know it. But anyway, they have this sort of trippy Force vision thing, and there's gongs going off in the trees, and it was cool though. It was eye opening for these people, and at the end of this, they're more of a unit, except for Erica Quell.
Yeah.
But hey, tell them how Erica got in their good graces.
Erica got in their good graces?
Oh my God, come on. Tell them. Do you remember?
Which reference are you?
Well, okay, so when she goes and gets the crest put on the ships and then gets the tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, I painted your ships, but hey, look at this bicep.
You guys don't need to get it. It's just, it's proof of how much I care about the
and
squadron.
Of course, Chast's like, you're a freak.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm still a commanding officer. Well, you're still a freak.
Yeah.
For getting a tattoo.
Right. Yeah, which she has plenty of herself and even references.
It was just kind of funny to see her attempt. It's like a very
awkward way of trying to. It's like a really sheltered child who doesn't know how to socialize, trying to for the first time.
But this is like more than halfway through the book, and now she's just now finally trying. But the thing is her inner dialogue is all telling her what to do, but she just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's
again, half
tough.
Measures.
Yeah, exactly. The droid was right.
Path of least resistance.
Yep. So at this point, she does kind of try, and then let's kind of go into the final mission here and introduce grandmother, Colonel Nares, who
grandmama.
Grandmother. So in the beginning, I didn't write down the planet's name. Do you remember the planet's name? That she took over? Okay, well, anyway, so grandmother took over a planet with her 204th and kind of to carve out her own little thing. Mm-hmm. It was a Tabana gas mine. And, some of the Imperials were reaching out and they were getting refueling.
Yeah.
And she's like...
She even runs into another squadron at one point, and they're kind of at the point where they're almost going to attack each other.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I've got this little thing going. I need a few months left alone, and I can help you guys out.
Yeah, exactly.
Just stay away.
She's trying to do something. She's not necessarily trying to consolidate power like some of the other Imperials are doing. Yeah. She's trying to carve something out that will work.
Yeah.
And a very interesting character, but, she's a little older, and people call her grandmother, and she doesn't like it. She doesn't have a lot of crew here. She doesn't have the biggest crew anymore. She's had losses just like everyone else. Now, the interesting thing is she's got a very special guest that just shows up. Yeah. Clad in red. Droid. Palpatine droid.
Wraith. Not droid, Wraith.
Yeah, I'm not calling it a Wraith. That's dumb.
That's what she calls it.
Well, she's dumb. It's just one of the Palpatine Sentinels.
Yeah. The last Palpatine Sentinel.
Maybe. No, the last one will be in episode 9. Anyway. No, but this was the Sentinel that told her to start Operation Cinder.
Mm-hmm. And hasn't said a word since.
Exactly. But it shows up randomly
just
sometimes. Just watching.
Just watching.
I'm telling you, there's something about that droid. And they didn't talk about it getting destroyed either.
I know.
But it's really cool because, again, we're still connecting it in canon.
Well, you could... this could end up being the droid you see in episode 9.
Maybe.
You don't know.
Hey, I'm not discounting anything. You never know. Yeah. So...
She kind of goes just slightly insane having to deal with this droid, too,
Yeah.
Day after day, she keeps asking it to say something and keeps yelling at like it is the Emperor and,
Well, yeah, let's not get to the very end there. Let's talk a little bit about the battle, and then we'll continue on with that. So we do eventually have the battle. Alphabet Squadron, which, coincidentally, they're named because they have different...
sticks, because I have...
B-Wing, Y-Wing, U-Wing, X-Wing. They're alphabetical.
They probably... same group that named Sticks.
Well, it was a joke.
You got a lightsaber and you use a stick for throttle, so you're Sticks.
What are you talking about? Well, if you'd listened to our New Jedi Order read through, you would have understood that reference.
That's right.
So anyway, we'll get back to New Jedi Order eventually. Oh, man. Okay, so we have our final battle. And we have Alphabet Squadron going in. Grandmother's kind of like, wait a minute. One squadron? This should be easy. Send all the ties out. Mm-hmm. This plan was devised by Quell. It was written off by checked off by everyone else, but it was Quell's mission. So Kairos is going to fly in special ops troops into one of the hangars, hold the hangar bay, and set some charges, blow them up. Mm-hmm. Nath and Chaz and Quell and Will are just all wreaking havoc, destroying what they can.
Not even getting hit. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, they did take some damage, but you're right. I mean,
they're pretty beat up at the end, but
correct.
Still.
Yeah,
it's one squadron versus all of the 204.
Very true. Now, tactically, Grandmother seems like she should be better, but really she let this whole thing get out of hand. It just seemed like she wasn't able to do much. Maybe she's too old at this point. I don't know. But eventually the Republic fleet does show up, which she anticipates. But because, the hangar is basically blocked, they can't get the ties out.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. She eventually does order them to try and shoot through, but it really doesn't work out for her very well. And then Erica Quell, in all of her infinite wisdom, just fire in the sky, ignites the flippin' Tabana gas.
Yeah.
One of the things that we learn is that heavy frigates cannot discharge their weapons around this gas because it basically light everything on fire.
And this part of the galaxy, the atmosphere is so dense, it's easier for things to light on fire as well.
Yeah, so it's a big problem, but essentially, in order to try and turn the tide, this was sort of what happened. Everybody gets burned.
Yeah, many burn deaths.
I could only imagine what those TIE pilots were feeling because they don't have shields, they don't have jack.
Yeah,
they've literally got to be just crispy. Char is charred.
Carbon scoring, that's cute.
Exactly. So, everybody kind of gets split up. Nath goes on a mission. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Erica tries to, prove herself to her teammates that she'd fight for them. Chaz
Come on, guys, I got a tattoo for you.
True. Chaz is trying to kill everything in existence, and Will
is trying to save Chaz.
Well, little Will is trying to save everyone.
Yeah.
Because this fire could eventually peter out. However, it's getting ready to reach tankers full of the gas. And he is able to unite. Will, is able to unite TIE pilots, Imperials, to push these tankers back. Even Blink and Char, who both die. But he's okay. But he's able to get them all to help.
Yep.
And even was able to pull Chaz back once again, even though she's still
taking that choice away, taking it away. It was my choice to make.
The first time, I kind of get it. The second time, it's like you
kind of rehashing the same thing.
You can't be this selfish.
Yeah.
Because if we can't stop this, we're going to wipe out a planet.
Yeah.
So that one, I don't really understand the outrage aside from just kind of being selfish about it. No offense.
Essentially. She wants her moment in the spotlight. 15 minutes of fame.
And that's the thing. It's like, I loved her so much until that final. It's like, you are just trying to die.
You're being dumb.
To live up to your hero, but this is not how Jyn Erso became a hero.
Right.
She did something great and selfless and sacrificed herself for a bigger cause. Your death here, taking out a couple of TIE pilots, means nothing. Yeah. Nobody will remember that. Yeah. How about you live through, help out, do the big things, make the tough decisions, and then you'll be that hero that you want to be. Let's talk about Nath's mission real quick here.
A little reconnaissance.
Well, he goes in and confronts Grandmother.
Yeah.
He wants to know, what happened to the pilots who killed my squadron? Well, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Who authorized the mission? A lot of people signed off on it.
Who?
It was me.
Shocker.
Tell him it was me.
Yeah. Was that a shock to you that it was her?
Well, obviously not. She's the commander of the 204,
yeah.
But so he also he's gonna shoot her. She knows it. He knows it. We all know it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay, the ensign, the female ensign, when he just cracks her head against a console. Yeah. I mean, the guy's pretty ruthless, man. Uh-huh. He's just cracking heads and killing people.
Yeah. He's pretty badass. Even though kind of evil,
Seems like a little bit of a D. But anyway.
B-A-D.
Yeah.
Bad ass.
Jeez. So anyway, he gets Erica's file. This is something that Karen had basically was paying him for.
Yeah, that was the whole point of this, was to figure out what's going on with Erica.
Well,
What'd she do?
side point to him. He wanted to figure out some other stuff, but it's true. So then he kills Grandma. Well, he shoots her. Sorry, Grandma. Grandmother, Nath Tenzin. It's a no. My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my unit. Prepare to die. So he shoots her square in the chest.
Yeah.
But she's able to survive and crawl 3 meters.
That's right.
To yell at the robot, to yell at the Sentinel. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Yeah, copyright infringement. Yeah. Doesn't talk to her.
Just waves.
Wouldn't it have been kind of epic, though, if it did say something?
I was so expecting that.
It's like, why did we do this?
Because we can.
Yeah, because I'm evil. But no, says nothing, just zooms off, and she dies. Could you... Okay, I got a weird visual when she was doing this. So she's shot straight through the chest, wounds cauterized. Now, I don't know. I think that there's some different schools of thought about energy bolts passing through the body. Some of it's just like... just a big burn hole, or like, is it like an apple pit? Like you just core all the way through,
right?
And she just has this hole, and she's like crawling. It's like squishing down and stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me really uncomfortable.
She don't care. She just wants to know why she did it all, why she had to do it.
Well, and it even says she kind of dies in despair.
Yeah,
questioning if what she did was right. You know, because she followed this guy forever. She was in the Clone Wars, all this stuff. She's been following this for so long. She's the old guard, and it's like she's questioning it. The Sentinel was not going to give her any sort of...
Well, Erica, questions all this too. She's talking at the end with ITO, and it's like, listen, I know the Emperor was a terrible man, but he made us what we are. He built us. So how do we get away from the shadow of that? Yeah,
true.
How do we forget it?
Exactly. So anyway, that's pretty much that. We already kind of talked about the last Erica moment with Karen. They do get her back. Everybody kind of parties at the end. Yeah. They're all super friend, super fun time. And then that's kind of it.
Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about at all.
Just some music going off, and it's fireworks, and they're all partying. Oh wait, there's more, because we didn't even talk about the sub story.
Yeah, Tinkertown and all that good stuff.
So we get a man named Devin. 3 different chapters,
I believe so.
I think it was. So
we
get a man
going into Tinkertown, and beyond.
Well, this space station, and then beyond that. So we've got a man named Devin shows up on a planet, little town called Tinkertown, that's being essentially terrorized by an old Imperial regiment who's just going crazy. He gets robbed. He allows himself to be robbed. He militarizes the town, takes out and kills the Imperials,
all while wearing a duster, by the way.
And then he just, moves on, and then the next we find him on an orbital space station exchange thing. And now he's a mechanic working on all the cars.
Got himself a little
space
buddy.
Cars. Yeah, he's got a friend who turns out to be also an Imperial who's going
stealing stuff daily.
Well, he's gonna go on a bombing mission,
Did it kind of make you think of that catalog song from
One Piece at a Time?
One Piece at a Time. I'm gonna make this bomb one piece at a time.
I guess. Well, he deduces that his buddy here was in the Imperial Navy, and he has some mechanical knowledge. I think he was he was an engineer, right?
Yeah,
studying to be an officer.
Yeah.
Somebody had contacted him to essentially become a suicide bomber and send this bomb to Trader's Remorse. Devin talks him out of it. Says, "Hey, go to somewhere else. Don't worry about it. I'll take the heat," and then leaves that planet. And then we find him on another planet, a very rainy planet. And this is actually after the victory our rebel victory. And he gets a little bit belligerent at the bar. You know, he's like, they're cowards. They're just killing everybody. Stupid rebels. And he, honestly...
Doesn't go over well.
No, well, he thinks that, well, it doesn't. He
Just
kind of...
had too much of that damn bowl of alcohol.
Yeah,
or
Madeira.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like an actual drink. It wasn't like a space drink. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I believe they said Madeira. But anyway, goes to work... But you know what? Everybody's like, nah, we're cool. You know, you got your politics. It's fine.
No, they're all looking at me.
Yeah, he was paranoid. I mean, it's understandable. But a couple of rebel
Intelligence officers.
space police.
Did you catch at the beginning where Karen's like, Alliance Special New Republic Special Forces?
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, these space cops come after him. They know who he is. And he basically warns them. It's like, you can just leave. But he kind of has to kill him, and he moves on again. However, we actually figure out that Devin is not Devin at all. Dun, 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 dun.
Plot twist. Who didn't die?
Yeah. Well, this is Major Soren Keys. I mean, we figure out he didn't die after Erica made her confession. But... he's out there doing his thing, and this is kind of part of the plan, and it really sets him up to be a major part of the rest of the books.
The question is he going to be a villain, or is he going to be a half ally?
Well, I mean, the thing is he's going back to take over the 204th.
Yeah,
he's going to go back and take over Shadow Wing. So I think he's going to be a major part, and probably the sort of major villain for it. And there's going to have to be a confrontation between him and Quell at some point.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Epic.
Okay, so what else? Any other details you wanted to bring up here real quick before I ask my final question?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, very good book. What would you say just overall?
Out of 10?
Yeah, sure.
I would give it a solid 8. It's a very good book.
Yeah, I'm going to say same. Solid 8. I love seeing sometimes love seeing the extracurricular stuff, the people on the ground, the folks that aren't necessarily heroes. You know, the people that
the ones that have to get it done.
Yeah.
Because they can't all be the Luke Skywalkers. They can't all be the noble heroes.
Exactly.
One thing that was really cool, never really thought about watching the movies all those years ago. They make reference to how these rebels were able to assassinate the Emperor in his own space station, and just how this is a 1 in a million chance, and just the general chaos afterwards. I mean, everyone's in disbelief. People are defecting like crazy. Power struggles are popping up. It's just really cool to see that backside of what the Empire went through.
Yep.
After the Battle of Endor.
I totally agree with you there. It is a really cool view into things. Last question, and then we will end this podcast. What is your favorite
B-Wing?
Gotta let the question finish, man. Let me finish. Ship in all of Star Wars.
B-Wing.
That's not true. You're a liar. Now, what is your favorite ship in all of Star Wars?
Well, of course, it's the Tantive. Tantive 4. Yeah.
Are you being serious?
No. It's probably my favorite name of any ship.
What is your actual favorite ship of just of all Star Wars?
That is kind of a hard question, honestly. I always love the ARC 170s, the pre-X-Wing, essentially.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to have to be generic here. I'm going to have to go with the X-Wing.
Okay.
That's what I would want.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. So mine, T-47 Airspeeder or Snowspeeder.
Yeah.
From Empire.
Yeah.
That's my favorite ship. I don't know. There's just something so cool. I just love the design of them. They looked rickety as hell.
Oh, they did.
I really just thought that they were cool ships.
Not as bad as those little ships in Last Jedi.
Oh, God. Yeah, those ski speeders. Yeah. Those are garbage.
That didn't even show up. Like, you got every speed bike when I Googled Starfighters. That thing didn't even show up.
It is garbage. So then, I mean, you picked X-Wing. So if you were in Alphabet Squadron any ship in Alphabet Squadron, that would be the one you'd want. X-Wing?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I think X-Wing's an easy choice to make. I would say
Y-Wing would be a close second.
Yeah, I still would probably pop on the A-Wing.
Really?
Yeah. I like the A-Wings. I mean, they're definitely an older design and sometimes they might not be the most stable, but they got Will through. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I'd probably go.
Oh, it's just because he talks to it.
That's true. You got to stroke
Just
it.
a little buddy.
Just got to stroke it a little bit.
That's right.
I mean, I love the X-Wing as well, but there's something about the A-Wing that I
you didn't talk about the mechanic. You want to talk about the mechanic?
I can't remember her name. Yeah, well, the
There's not
ship's
much to the mechanic.
Heavily tattooed, likes to draw.
Yeah.
Pretty quirky, kind of,
90% of the descriptors for the mechanic was tattooed.
Yeah, it's very true. Tattooed quill.
There was one kind of a good little argument between her and Nath when she's working on his ship.
True,
like,
yeah.
You really should have an expert who does this daily work on your ship. You think you know what you're doing, but you really don't. He's like,
Yeah.
this is my ship.
You get
I
out
know
of here.
every little quirk about this ship. I know what it can do.
Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna get to every character, but
Yeah.
she was kind of cool, little addition. You know who else was in the book? Harrison Dula.
We'll get to her later.
Yeah, get to her later.
After Rebels.
You guys know who Hera is. But I mean, she was obviously the general of the squadron. Had some moments with Yuriko, was, guided them pretty effectively.
Kind of motherly figures. Like, girl, you're being stupid.
Yeah,
You're just being stupid.
All right, well, it's getting late, and we've been talking a while.
We're getting goofy.
Getting a little goofy.
Yeah.
But hey, I really enjoyed the book. I know you enjoyed the
Same.
book. And definitely one that I could reread a couple of times and be pretty happy with.
Easily.
Looking forward to follow-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, if this is a trilogy, I'll be very happy.
For sure. So, yeah, folks, make sure you check us out on the Facebook. You can send us your... There you go. Yeah, you can send us your Star Wars story, and we'll read it here on the podcast. We like to hear about that. How did you get into Star Wars? If it's a little bit more long form, you can send us an email at tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure to follow us on the Twitter. And, Patreon's out there, too. If you want to watch goofy Dinner with the Patron videos and support the podcast, great place to do it. All that being said, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, and thank you for listening.
And as always, may the Force be with you.